Sometimes, justice isn't blind. It's just biased towards who is standing trial. Today, we witness a courtroom where the punishment isn't determined by the crime, but by the color of the defendant's skin. Two defendants sit side by side. Darius Carter, black, 32 years old, calm but tense. Ethan Wallace, white, 35 years old, nervous but composed. Both are accused of committing the same crime, stealing an expensive watch from a luxury store. But from the moment they step into the courtroom, they can already feel that nothing about this trial is equal. The jury members glance at Ethan with sympathy, yet their expressions harden when they look at Darius. Reporters whisper among themselves. Even the spectators seem to have already made up their minds. The prosecutor's opening statement. Prosecutor Daniel Hoffman stands before the jury, opening his file and placing the documents on the table.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have two men before us today. But here's the difference. Ethan Wallace made a mistake. He acted in the heat of the moment and regrets it. Darius Carter, however, planned, orchestrated, and executed this crime. He is the mastermind.
Maya Williams immediately objects.
Your Honor, I request that the prosecution provide tangible evidence to support these claims.
The prosecutor's accusation. Prosecutor Hoffman smirks slightly before turning to the jury and pointing at Ethan Wallace.
Ethan Wallace has already confessed to the crime. However, he stated that Darius Carter forced him into it.
Courtroom murmurs. Begin. Darius's jaw tightens in disbelief. Ethan quickly glances at him before looking down at the floor. The jury members exchange glances, absorbing the prosecution's words. The defense fights back. Maya Williams grips her files firmly before stepping toward the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you noticed that Ethan Wallace's claims are not supported by a single piece of concrete evidence? You are about to destroy a man's life based only on someone else's words.
Judge Robert Calloway bangs his gavel.
Ms. Williams, instead of responding directly to the prosecution, please proceed with your defense using evidence.
A shocking discovery. Maya Williams returns to her desk, reaching for a crucial file, one that contains evidence proving both men were equally involved in the crime. But suddenly, her expression shifts. The files are missing.
This is impossible. These documents, where are they?
Was this an accident? Or is someone trying to hide the truth? Maya Williams begins searching for the missing files. But the deeper she digs, the more she realizes this trial was never meant to be fair. Sometimes, a man's guilt isn't determined by the evidence, but by his past. But what if that past was fabricated from the start? As Maya Williams searches for the missing case files, she stumbles upon something even more alarming. Darius Carter's criminal record. She digs into court documents, analyzing every charge against him. And that's when she makes a shocking discovery. Some of the crimes listed in Darius Carter's past never actually happened. 2015. He was accused of assault and battery, but court records state that the case was dismissed due to lack of evidence. 2018. He was charged with theft, but security footage proved he was nowhere near the crime scene. The more Maya examines these records, the more disturbing a pattern emerges. Darius has been falsely accused for years, systematically framed by the system itself, the double standard of justice. As Maya reviews past cases, she notices something even more unsettling. White defendants in similar cases received much lighter sentences. And the most damning detail, most of these unjust rulings were made by the same judge, Judge Robert Calloway. A critical decision in the courtroom. Maya realizes she has a choice to make. Does she directly challenge Judge Calloway in court? Does she investigate whether the prosecution made a secret deal with Ethan Wallace? Or does she dig deeper into Darius's past cases and expose a much bigger scandal? As Maya prepares to reveal Darius's past injustices to the jury, Judge Calloway suddenly slams his gavel on the bench.
Ms. Williams, please focus on defending your client. His past has no relevance to the case at hand.
Your Honor, if my client has been repeatedly targeted by a biased system, then his past is very relevant.
Judge Calloway hesitates for a brief moment, because Maya has just touched the darkest secret within the justice system. Darius Carter, sitting silently at the defense table, watches Maya closely. For the first time in his life, someone is truly fighting for him. Maya realizes this case isn't just about Darius. It's about an entire system built on injustice. But what will she do next? Sometimes, the only way to know if justice truly exists is to challenge it. But standing up to a judge in court, that takes real courage. As prosecutor Daniel Hoffman continues addressing the jury, insisting that Ethan Wallace is innocent and that Darius Carter is the true culprit, Maya Williams can no longer stay silent. the missing evidence, falsified charges, and the blatant double standard in the courtroom. It was all right in front of her, and she was done playing along.
Your Honor, I have to ask, is this a real trial or just a staged performance? Because in this courtroom, it's not evidence being judged, it's prejudice.
Shockwaves in the courtroom, murmurs spread across the room. The jury members exchange glances. Judge Calloway shifts slightly in his seat, visibly uncomfortable. Prosecutor Hoffman smirks and turns toward Maya with a mocking expression.
Ms. Williams, let's not turn this courtroom into a political debate. If you can't build a proper defense, maybe spare the jury from all this empty rhetoric.
Empty rhetoric. I am speaking the truth. And the truth is this. Darius Carter was already found guilty before this trial even began.
The judge intervenes. Judge Calloway slams his gavel firmly. His face is tight with anger. And something else, nervousness.
Ms. Williams, I will not allow you to disrespect this court. I am in charge of this trial, and in this courtroom, only evidence speaks.
Is that so, Your Honor? Then tell me this. What do you know about the missing files? Who tampered with Darius Carter's record, adding fabricated charges that never existed?
The room falls into complete silence, because that is the one question Judge Calloway has spent years avoiding. A silent exchange between the judge and prosecutor. Prosecutor Hoffman glances quickly at the judge. Judge Calloway suddenly looks down at his papers, avoiding eye contact. The courtroom begins to shift. The jury members now seem more alert, more attentive. Reporters in the audience scribble furiously in their notepads, because Maya's words hint at a scandal far bigger than this case. The judge tries to regain control.
Ms. Williams, if you continue disrupting these proceedings, I will have you removed from the courtroom.
You can remove me, Your Honor, but everyone here has already seen the truth. And after today, no one will ever believe that justice in this court is real.
Maya Williams had just taken the biggest gamble of her career. But that risk might expose a truth bigger than any case in history. Sometimes, the greatest threat in a trial isn't the obvious enemies, but the hidden ones, pulling the strings. Maya Williams had successfully shaken the courtroom. The fake charges in Darius Carter's record, the missing evidence, and the double standards in the justice system were finally coming to light. But Judge Calloway and Prosecutor Hoffman were not about to lose control of the case.
Members of the jury, the defense attorney is spinning a grand conspiracy theory, but I'm about to show you a hard fact.
He opens a sealed folder and holds up a document for the jury.
Here's proof that Darius Carter was involved in yet another crime: armed robbery, threats, and shoplifting. This isn't his first offense.
Jury members murmur amongst themselves. Maya Williams's eyes narrow as she turns swiftly toward Hoffman.
Where did you get this document? It was never presented in court before.
I'm not questioning your investigative skills, Ms. Williams, but perhaps the truth doesn't fit the story you're trying to tell?
But as Maya examines the document, she notices something shocking. A fake piece of evidence?
Members of the jury, I ask you to look at this document carefully. Focus on the date and the location of the alleged crime.
The jury members lean in, studying the document as Maya turns to the prosecutor.
Tell me, Mr. Hoffman, what's the date on this record?
March 2018. So what?
So what? Darius Carter was in jail for 3 months during March 2018. It was physically impossible for him to have committed this crime.
The prosecutor freezes. Judge Calloway shifts uncomfortably in his seat. The jury members exchange bewildered looks. This didn't just prove Darius Carter's innocence. It exposed a deliberate effort to manipulate evidence. Judge Calloway and Prosecutor Hoffman are cornered. But the fight isn't over yet. One final move is needed to bring true justice on fire. Some victories aren't just won in court. True justice only happens when the world sees it for what it is. The jury members are having their final deliberations. Prosecutor Hoffman's face is pale. His fake evidence has backfired, exposing his attempt to manipulate the court. Judge Calloway sits in stunned silence. The big announcement. The jury foreman stands up, and the entire courtroom holds its breath.
This court, after reviewing all presented evidence, finds the defendant Darius Carter not guilty.
Darius Carter lowers his head, his eyes filled with emotion. Prosecutor Hoffman clenches his fist against the table. Judge Calloway doesn't move. But the trial isn't over yet. Maya Williams rises to her feet, her voice ringing through the room.
Members of the jury, this is about more than just one innocent man being set free. We need to question how justice is being served.
The jury foreman exchanges quick whispers with other members before making a second announcement. Jury foreman, serious and authoritative. This court officially calls for an investigation into Judge Calloway's previous cases. Judge Calloway suddenly looks defenseless for the first time. Prosecutor Hoffman hurriedly gathers his files. He knows a scandal is about to explode. Journalists scramble to take notes. This is a historic moment. In a world where justice has always been defined by race, today marked the beginning of a new hope. The hope that justice could finally be fair. As Darius Carter steps into his newfound freedom, everything is about to change. Maya Williams turns to Darius and shakes his hand. Darius smiles, his eyes glistening.
You saved me, but how many others are still locked away for nothing?
Then we fight for them too.
And on that day, it wasn't just one man's fate that changed. It was the future of justice itself.